Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. I'm speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And today I'm doing a movie review of one of the Blu-rays I own. This one today I'm doing is a comedy, one of my favorite comedies of all time. Came out in 2000. It is called Best in Show. There's the Blu-ray in there. I love how it shows all the kind of the main actors and their dogs there in the shot. But yeah, this is a comedy. Now it's 21 years old, which I can't believe it's that old now. Um, it is directed by Christopher Guest, which you can see there, right there. Christopher Guest with his dog there. He directed the movie. He also co-wrote it with Eugene Levy, who's also in the movie. Stars Christopher Guest, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Parker Posey, Michael McKean, John Higgins, Jennifer Coolidge, Jane Lynch, and Fred Willard, to name just a few. There's many more actors in here that are very good. Everybody gets kind of their time to shine, which is really nice in this movie. Each have great moments in the movie, comedic moments. Best Show is a very unique movie. It's what I call a mockumentary or a mock documentary, where it's a comedy that is made to look like a documentary, the way they shoot and the way it's edited. They look like they're playing real characters, which they obviously aren't. They're playing made-up characters. But it's such a funny way to provide a storyline or to present a storyline where you have all these different characters and we're seeing their backstories and we're seeing kind of their journey. In this case, Best in Show is about contestants in a dog show, the Mayflower Dog Show, which is the big dog show they do every year. And Best in Show is given to the dog that wins. And there's different categories and all that. I'm not that much of a dog person to know. I never watched the Mayflower. It sounds pretty boring to watch. So I don't know as much about dog categories and the different dogs and stuff like that. But it's fun to watch this movie and kind of see all these different dogs competing, and the owners are kind of eccentric, very quirky characters, very funny characters in this. And the dog show is just a way to bring all these different characters together in one event, and also provides good, climax to see who wins. So it provides a good story point. Very well done. And it's really just to show these different actors just being funny and their different characters, and kind of love how they're making up their own stories. So it's these made up stories that you're seeing that are supposed to look like they're real, but they're not. And it's such a very unique way of presenting comedy. Of course, Christopher Guest was first kind of did it with This Is Spinal Tap back in the 80s. It was kind of the first one I recall. And then they did Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind. For Your Consideration was like the last one that they kind of Christopher Guest directed and wrote with Eugene Levy. And then of course, TV-wise, it's become very popular with The Office, Parks and Recreation, and Modern Family have done this mockumentary style, and all three very funny shows, and use it to very good use. I think the use of this type of comedy, like I said, is really to show, just be able to really develop characters and make them quirky and funny. And you make a ton of different characters. Like, there's so many different characters in the show, in this movie. And so they get their small scenes here and there. Like, here's, like, the way they edit it, it's like, here's a scene with this couple, here's a scene with this couple, and you just edit to all these different characters. And there's minor characters that get little spots in there. And it's just done so well. And I love what they do with it. Didn't get nominated for any Oscars, of course. It's not an Oscar type movie. I guess my backstory with this movie is that I remember it coming out and seeing like trailers for it. I was in high school and I didn't get it. I remember seeing a trailer and it didn't look funny, and I didn't understand. It's about dogs, so I was like, who cares about dog show? And I didn't know a lot of the actors, actually. I think a lot of them really kind of became big after this. Obviously, like Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are already well known. Christopher Guest, somewhat. He's never been a big star, of course, but you got someone like Parker Posey and Jane Lynch, especially. I feel like really shot off this movie, and started doing really good with like Glee, getting Emmy wins, and she's become a very funny actress and done a lot of good work. Jennifer Coolidge was kind of known at that point, but I feel like she does a real good job. John Higgins is a guy that you see every once in a while, but this movie really made him like, man, this guy is so funny, and he's been in a lot of good stuff since then. So there's a lot of really good actors that I kind of saw for the first time in this movie. And I remember just thinking like, oh, this doesn't look interesting. I wasn't really interested in ever watching this movie. And then I remember reading like a movie review because I used to watch like Siskel and Ebert. I used to read movie reviews every week. Like I was so obsessed with movie reviews as a kid, as a teenager, anyways. And I remember reading somebody like at the end of the year saying like Best in Show was the funniest movie of the year, and that kind of caught me off guard. I remember being like, really, Best in Show was the funny movie? Like, maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. Maybe I should give it a chance. And then one time it was on like Stars or something, I think, and I was at home, and so I was like, oh, I'll watch this. And so I think I watched a little bit of it, and the little bit I watched was actually really funny, and I was like really laughing out. I thought, wow, this is really funny because I kind of got it. It didn't take me too long to kind of get the joke. It was like, oh, they're pretending like it's a documentary, but it's not. And so I've never seen that before, really, because I don't think I even saw This is Spinal Tap yet. I think I've seen clips of This is Spinal Tap, but I never really watched the whole movie at that point. So this was kind of a new thing to me, and I think The Office hasn't. I don't feel like The Office hit yet. Of course, once that hit, like I said, mockumentary styles became really, really big, and so this was still kind of a new thing to me. But once I got the joke of like the mockumentary style, I was like, this is brilliant, like type of writing. And of course, a lot of it is improvised. That's what I love, improvisation. I love shows like Whose Line Is It Anyways, and Saturday Night Live, of course, and so I love people improvising funny things. Sometimes you get some of the funniest moments just by being in the moment, and you get, of course, really, really good people that are really funny at that, and you just become that character, and you come up with funny ideas there that you wouldn't do necessarily in script, in the screenplay. And so I love the improvisation. You can kind of tell they're improvising against each other, and it's just absolutely hilarious what they're coming up with. And so I don't know. At some point, I remember, watching the whole movie, and just it was one of my favorite comedies I've ever seen. I mean, at that point, I was like, man, this is like in fact, I was like, I need other people to see this. I was like, have you ever seen? Because Best in Show, it doesn't seem like it was a big hit movie. I don't know if it was a big box office or anything. I don't remember people talking about it that much. So it's one of those underdog movies to me that I was like, I had to get it out there. And anytime I was with somebody, but like, you have to watch this movie. It's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, so that's kind of my memory of kind of discovering this movie and being a big fan. I'm gonna go to my favorite scene of the movie, which is hard because there's so many great scenes. I have to go because, and then most of the scenes are pretty short, so it's hard to really say there's one iconic scene that stands out. To me, my favorite part of the movie is at the very end when they're at the dog show, and I love the scenes with Fred Willard. This was one where Fred Willard, never saw Fred Willard before. I didn't know who he was, and he just totally killed it in this. He's like this dog commentator. He's commenting on the dog show, but he's kind of, his comments are really out there. It has nothing to do with the dog show sometimes, and he says a lot of funny things, and he's kind of like the play-by-play commentator, I guess, who doesn't really know a lot about the dog competition. And the other guy that's with him is more the dog expert that's doing more of the analyzing of what's going on. Anyway, but Fred Willard is absolutely hilarious in his scenes. I would say my favorite scenes are just the scenes where he's in it and making comments about the dogs and and saying outlandish things. And then he'll say stuff like how much do you think I could bench? Which had nothing to do with anything. Or he talks about what if we put a hat and a pipe in that dog's mouth? Would that help him in the competition? Or if this dog was in playing football, what would he be, a running back or a wide receiver? I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous ideas or questions that you wouldn't ask. Anyway, so those are my favorite scenes, I would say, compilation of those, which goes to my favorite character. I mean, I've always said Fred Willard steals the show, and he only comes in at the very end of the movie, but his scenes, like I said, just absolutely hilarious. But all of them are great. Love Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. They're a married couple, and they have such great chemistry, and a lot of funniest moments come through those two. Eugene Levy just knows how to make you laugh just by the way he looks. He just knows how to like he puts in some kind of teeth, and he kind of the way he smiles and the glasses, and I don't know what he does, but he can just make you laugh by just looking at him. And there's always funny storylines with them, with him having two literally left feet, and they comment on that later that he has trouble walking straight because he has two left feet. And then Catherine O'Hara's character has this whole thing where she was very promiscuous when she was younger, and so they're always bumping into guys that she slept with, and which makes Eugene Levy's character very jealous, and so it's always hilarious every time she bumps into another guy that she slept with in the past, and brings that up. Anyways, but yeah, all the characters are so great and memorable. It's hard to say a favorite character, but those are ones that pop out first. As far as special features of this Blu-ray, there's not a lot to it. Unfortunately, they didn't do a lot. Really, the only thing they really did was audio commentary by Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy, which is pretty funny, of course. They're pretty funny people. So there's some funny stuff with those two. So it's a decent audio commentary to listen to. Besides that, they didn't do anything else for the Blu-ray, unfortunately. How it holds up, I mean, of course, 21 years old, still absolutely hilarious idea, hilarious character, still very, really funny movie. Yeah, definitely have to watch this one if you haven't seen it before. I'm rating it a 4 out of 5, which is a strong recommend. Really recommend this movie to anybody. Best in Show. If you like that kind of style, if you ever watched any of The Office or anything like that, that kind of mockumentary style. But yeah, definitely one of the funniest comedies. So yeah, so that's my review of Best in Show. Please comment if you've seen this movie. Do you like the movie? What do you think? Anything I missed on it? And just thank you for watching the video and liking it. And thank you to all subscribers for supporting the channel. And I appreciate you. Have a good day.